Stephen A. Smith, we will start with you. What was your takeaway from last night's game?
Well, my takeaway is that the Seattle Seahawks are done. I mean, they came back, they fought valiantly. Anytime you got a guy like Russell Wilson, you're going to have a chance. You're going to be in the thick of things. But considering the fact that Cam Chancellor's out, that Richard Sherman is out, their defense just isn't the same. The Falcons, I still hold out hope for them, but they continue to disappoint me because I thought the game was led to be far more interesting than it should have been. They made me a bit nervous. Seahawks almost pushed it into overtime before the 52-yard field goal was missed. And it just speaks to the greatness of Russell Wilson. But in the end, what it comes down to is that the Seattle Seahawks, their signature, their statement is about the Legion of Boom. And the Legion of Boom is no more, at least for the rest of this season, because two of their huge components are out of the mix. And so because of that, that leaves them out of the mix, which elevates the possibilities for the Atlanta Falcons. And when you consider the fact that Matty Ice and Julio Jones are still out there, along with Coleman behind, running the football for you, Mohamed Sanu and the crew, you would like to believe that their defense could step up. Even though there's some trepidation, there's some question marks, they still have the potential to be there. Seattle sort of dimming or dissipating in the mind's eye, I think helps the Atlanta Falcons. But I think that even though the jury is still out about the Falcons, what it comes down to is that I think the Seahawks, as we know it, are pretty much done as well. I don't see them making but so much noise. That's what I peeled from this game, Lewis and Max.
Yeah, let's start with this, Stephen A. We knew that Legion of Boom was done before going into the game, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago. The guys you would name by name, if you had to call the Legion of Boom by name, before it became known as the whole defense, just a secondary, you would literally name the guys who are not playing right now. So the Legion of Boom is not there. We knew that going in. What we found out were three things in this game. One, the reports of Matt Ryan's demise have been greatly exaggerated. He was excellent when he needed to be excellent. He's still a really good quarterback. Two, Pete Carroll had a bad game. I mean, Stephen A., if the point is that the Legion of Boom is done, hey, Bill Belichick can have injured players and he can compensate. There's one Bill Belichick. That's why he is clearly, and I think by far, the greatest coach in the history, at least of the Super Bowl era NFL. And when you consider parity, all those things, what they do all the time, don't compare everyone to Bill Belichick. Any other coach, including Pete Carroll, if your whole secondary is out, guess what? You're going to be susceptible. But Pete Carroll had a bad day, a really bad day, a fake field goal to try to get you fake a field goal attempt to get a tight end to go 18 yards. It didn't make any sense. A challenge when everyone in the world knew you're just going to lose a timeout didn't make sense. Pete Carroll, maybe he was trying to overcompensate. He had a bad day. That's number two. And number three is Russell Wilson is so great. It's not just that he's good. He is great. He is so great that, as usual, he should be in the MVP conversation because practically by himself, he was able to overcome the absence of the Legion of Boom, the absence of any offensive line. We all know there's no offensive line. His coach having a bad day, no running game. Russell Wilson kept them in and very nearly won that game. Matt Ryan's still really good. Pete Carroll had a bad day. Russell Wilson, MVP candidate as usual.